Welcome to the Vault XL. You are now listening to live number 3. This content is pertaining to the disappearance of Summer Wells. What did her brothers see and hear on June 15th, 2021? Thank you for joining me. Make sure I got everything ready. Okay, everybody. Thank you. I'm going to start off with reading the polls on my community page. Hope you enjoyed this ambiance for this live stream. I think I work better in the dark. I can think better. My thoughts flow easier when it's nighttime. Thank you for joining me. Okay. Try to put everything together here. Hope everyone is well. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Be safe. Be aware of your surroundings while out shopping, gathering information. Please check out the last live stream pertaining to the dirty secret in an Oklahoma house where a man was living with his wife, his children that he had vetted by the stepdaughter, who was the daughter of his wife. And he had made children with her. The secret finally got out by Miss Cole, who had hired him to do some contract work for her. And some time had elapsed to where he ended up double backing to work for her. I think he got spooked by her asking questions. So 2 years later, he comes back needing work, and the cat comes out of the bag that he had impregnated his stepdaughter and also had the wife in tow as well, alongside all these children. She's now currently helping this family. I also believe they have a GoFundMe page set up. Feel free to go to that video, my community board, to get this information if you want to help these people. It's your choice. Prayers for the young people because they're going to need all the guidance they can get. It's a very horrific tale. The details are not nice. So as I said, if you're not in tune with listening to conversation about essay, that I don't advise you to listen to the storyline. But no one's name has been mentioned because they don't want the identities to get out about the children. But mind you, the children didn't even have IDs, birth certificates, because he kept them hidden in a house with his wife and stepdaughter and the children he made with stepdaughter. It's a very disturbing tale, but I had to give you that information because I felt it needed to get out. This is live number 3. Thank you for joining me. Ronnie Lawson says alleged scream was not related to Summer's case. Your thoughts? Agree, 23%. Disagree, 15%. Not sure, 29%. Kids playing, 1%. Jody made it up, 32%. So it's a tie between you're not sure if the scream has anything to do with Summer and that Jody made it up at 32%. Very interesting. Wow. Wow, Jody. And that's out of 75 votes. Do you believe Jody Sue, her kids, heard a scream June 15th? Yes, 25%. This is 80 votes. No, 56%. Not sure, 19%. One comment. Let's hear what they have to say. User CDW says, I said yes. Okay, well, that's fine. Somebody says yes, they believe it. Okay. It is what it is. All righty. Oh, Lordy. I don't know how I jumped out of my menu. I'll have to read the comments another time because for some reason, I can't not maneuver. This computer does not act well when it's plugged up for some weird reason. So some of you believe Jody made it up to scream. As far as her hearing the scream with her children, 55% believe she did not hear the scream. Very interesting. When did the boys see Summer? June 15th. Morning, 34%. Afternoon, 13%. Evening, 5%. Never saw her, 24%. Not sure, 24%. Did Wells boys harm Summer? 8% yes, 56% no, 36% not sure. Did the Wells boys, I think I asked that question already. Did the boys see Summer at all on June 15th? 49% yes, 30% no, 21% not sure out of 70 votes. So 49% believe they did see her. But then on my other poll pertaining to me asking you all, did they see her? Majority of you believe they never saw her. And 24% as well said not sure at 79 votes. Feel free to go over to my community page to take the polls. I got a lot of votes on this question. Did the Wells boys harm Summer? Once again, 8% yes, 56 says no, 36 not sure. Did Don take Summer away from home June 15th before 911 call? 73% of you said yes. 14% no, 13% not sure. Did Candace meet Don with Summer alive or deceased before alleged call to him and then 911 was made? Once again, did Candace meet Don with Summer alive or deceased before alleged call to him and then 911 was made? Because we only have the version that they gave. 73% believe that Candace did meet with Don, with this child, alive or dead. 12% of you said no, 15% not sure. If Summer died in car in transit, did Candace discard her in Kingsport? 15% yes, 49% no, 36% not sure. Did Candace discard Summer after dropping off Boy H? 65% of you said yes, 21% no, and 14% not sure. Do you think the red Tacoma truck was seen on June 14th, 15th, or made up? 14th, 5%. 15th, 21%. Not sure, 14%. Made up story, 60%. So the majority of you that took that poll believe the story was made up about the Tacoma truck. Allegedly, a red Tacoma truck was seen on Ben Hill Road June 15th. Was it Don's boss's truck? 18% yes, 50% no, not sure, 33%. Did Don Wells use his boss's red truck June 15th? Kind of a trick question there. Yes, 31%. No, 36%. Not sure, 33%. Did Don Wells return home earlier than he claimed? 85% of you said yes. 5% no, 10% not sure. Wow, that's a high vote. Did Summer go missing on June 15th or before? 67% says she went missing on June 15th. 15% of you believe she went missing on Monday the 14th. 6% believes days earlier, and 13% of you are not sure. Did CPS visit Wells' home before June 15th? 85% says yes, 9% no, 6% not sure. Do you believe cell service at Ben Hill Road was spotty or down June 15th? Yes, 49%. No, 38%. Not sure, 13%. Did Candace speak to an operator on June 15th? Yes, 49%. No, 20%. Only Don, 17%. Not sure, 15%. Do you believe, per Don Wells' mouth, a canine hit on Summer's scent at the end of their driveway or road? 55% yes, 34% no, 11% not sure. Did Summer wander off the property June 15th? 3% yes, 87% no, 10% not sure. Did operator misspeak about Candace taking a walk off the property June 15th? 35% says yes, 50% said no, 9% not sure. Wow, 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 wow. If Wells have not attended church in a while, should they be welcomed back? 53% says yes, 47% says no. Does Robin regret dealing with the Wells? 18% says yes, 58% says no, 24% not sure. So 58% of you think she doesn't have any regrets. She doesn't have any regrets at all. Very interesting. Are there church members regretting dealing with the Wells? 206 votes. 86% of you all said yes. 14% of you said no. And I didn't give you an option for not sure. Do Don or Candace want out of their marriage? Yes for Candy, 25%. No for Candy, 6%. Yes for Don, 11%. No for Don, 3%. Not sure of either, 55%. So most of you are not sure. And then the second one after that comes in at 25%, almost half, you all weighed in that yes, Candy does want out of the relationship. Do the Wells regret, have remorse for harming Summer? Candy, yes, 4% out of 100 votes. This is you all's rendering. Don, yes, 5%. That's damn near a tie. Candy, no, 23%. Don, no, 8%. Not sure of either, 60%. What do the Wells boys know about June 15th? Something, 75% out of 120 votes. Nothing, 8%. Not sure, 17%. So most of you believe the boys do know something. Who will be the first to tell what happened to Summer Wells? 119 votes. Candace, 55%. Don, 45%. I also asked you, what is your theory to the disappearance of Summer Wells? Here are your responses. Donna Baker. In my opinion, I think DW and VW and Grandis needs to come forward. Tell us where, what, when, why. I have so many questions. Joseph Paulus says, her mother goes without saying. I mean, come on. They had a lodger staying down the dungeon bedroom. Then the blue couch that held the door closed goes missing. And different stories about that door, and it could be locked or not, when and why it did go missing. And then, of course, the Queen replied, the very reason I don't dwell on any version pertaining to June 15th. All stories come from Don and Candace. Nobody else. And nothing they have said to the news and YouTube has been confirmed publicly by the sheriff and TBI. That was my response. Somebody said traded for nose candy and pills. The Queen responded, Lordy. Somebody says, in my opinion, Candace and Grandis know what happened to Summer. I don't think Don has anything to do with it. I replied, why not, considering he has done all of the talking? Yeah, why not? I'm curious. I'm very curious to that. All right, everybody. Just going through all the questions on this community page pertaining to Summer Wells. Thank you for joining me. Had a lot of questions to ask you all. Please feel free to go over and take the poll while you are listening to this live stream. Take your time. I always give an option of not sure because there are probably people who aren't sure about anything pertaining to the story. So I do give you that option in some of the questions. Just going through, rechecking my questions. I'm going to go ahead and mention the other questions I have on here pertaining to Ruby Frankie while I'm passing them by. Was Jody the ringleader in abuse of Frankie kids? 13% yes, 8% no, 10% not sure. Both willing participants, 69%. Now, back to Summer. Did creepy guy Billy attempt to or assaulted the Wells kids? Yes, 12%. 47% no, 42% not sure. So 47% of you said no, and 42% of you are not sure. Did the creepy guy Billy take and harm Summer Wells? 3% yes, 63% no, 35% not sure. Did Candace leave the property before calling 911? 91% says yes, 3% no, 6% not sure. 165 votes. Thank you all so much for taking these polls. Did Summer Wells arrive home with Candace and Granny? 42% yes, 36 says no, quite close, and 23% says not sure. Why would Boy H lie about the events of June 15th? Involved, 5%. Something happened to Summer accidentally, 3%. He and Candace fooled around, 13%. Illegal activity he witnessed or participated, 24%. And then I give you the option of all of the above, 56%. So out of 79 votes, you all believe that he was involved to some degree. Something happened to the girl accidentally. He and Candace fooled around, and there was some illegal activity that he witnessed and or participated in. Wow, mercy. Did Don Wells go to work entire day, June 15th? 3% of you said yes, 72% no. Partial day, 19%, not sure, 7%. Were the Wells boys with Don at work, June 15th? Yes, 19%. No, 59%. Not sure, 22%. Do you believe that Don Wells called Candace saying he saw a creepy guy hanging around the property, June 15th? 22% of you said yes, 66% of you said no, and 12% of you said not sure. Wow. So most of you don't believe Don called Candace saying there was a guy walking around up there on the property, which this is the information Boy H gave to the interview room. Do you believe Allie saw Candace and Summer inside of the car June 15th? Yes, 21%. No, 66%. 13% not sure. Do you believe Boy H's version of June 15th? 6% no, 53% says, no, excuse me, 6% yes, 53% no, 40% partially, and 1% not sure. Wow, 50-some% of you don't believe his version. I kind of believe his version. Just saying. I believe him before I believe Don and Candace. All right, just going through all my questions. Okay. Whew. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Here's some questions from 3 days ago. Did someone else, not Grandis, help Don and Candace get rid of Summer Wells? 55% of you said yes. 26% no, 20% not sure. Did Don and Candace come to YouTube with shenanigans to gloat that they indeed harmed Summer Wells? 64% yes, 20% no, 16% not sure. And then I'm going to read the polls pertaining to the Idaho 4. Would you be shocked if you found out that one of the girls had some form of contact with Koiberger, including the two remaining roommates? 16% yes, 84% said no. Wow, that's 110 votes on that one. After all that has been revealed, who was Koiberger's target? 21% says Kaylee, 39% Maddie, 1% Xana, 15% at least two, 24% all of the girls. Has Koiberger been intimate with a female? 24% yes, 40% no, 36% not sure. Should Koiberger change plea to guilty and end this saga? 82% says yes, 11% no, 7% not sure. I want to meet the 7% of you who are confused to say not sure, and I definitely want to see the 11% that said no, he shouldn't give a plea of guilty. Good Lord. Always a fan of a criminal. Did Koiberger photograph victims outside, nearby, other places before murders and or after the crime? Yes, 76%. 6% no. 19% not sure. Did Koiberger take souvenirs from the victims? 91% yes. 3% no. 6% not sure. Has Koiberger been inside of the Idaho home before the murders? 87% yes. 3% no. 10% not sure. Is there another eyewitness that puts Koiberger at the crime scene that morning and or before the murders? 65% yes, 16% no, 19% not sure. Why do you think the Chapins do not discuss the murder of their son? 15% says deflecting, having accepted his murder. 15% says they have moved on. 40% says rather focus on the positivity of his former life, and 30% says possibly all. Mr. Gonsalves says state has a lot of evidence in the Koiberger case, so the house is not needed. Do you believe this? Yes, 31%. 53% of you said no, 16% not sure. Should the Idaho 4 home remain until after the jury visits the home or after the trial is over? After the jury visit, 32%. After the trial is over, 68%. Why is the Idaho 4 home being demolished? State doesn't need it. Made a model, 5%. School wants it down, 19%. Complaints from community, 0%. All of the above, 77%. Okay. And I also got a little bit of Ruby here. Why do you think Ruby Franke pled guilty to abusing her kids? 26% says strong evidence. Feels remorse, 0%. Knows it was wrong, 0%. Didn't want jury trial, possible longer sentence, 50%. All of the above, 24%. Should Jody receive prison time for abusing Franke kids? 97% yes, 3% no. Dear God, who's the 3%? Does Jody feel remorse for abusing Franke children? 0 says yes, 94% no, 6% not sure. Should Franke kids be allowed to visit mom if she receives a prison sentence? 7% yes, 93% no. Do you think Franke kids want to see their mom? Yes, 6%. No, 69%. 25% not sure. Are you surprised that Ruby Franke pled guilty to child abuse? 28% yes, 72% said no. Very interesting. Does Ruby Franke feel remorse for abusing her kids? 0% yes, 86% no, 14% not sure. Ruby Franke took a plea to abusing her kids. How much time should she get? 5 years, 3%. 10 or more years, 97%. Probation, 0%. Will Jody Hildebrandt plead guilty as well to felony child abuse charges? 31% of you believe she will. 55% of you said no. 14% of you are not sure. Thank you so much for taking the polls pertaining to these true crime cases. I'm now going to go in here and discuss Summer Wells, the brothers. Hit that like button, everybody. Merry Christmas, everybody. Hello, Miss Justice, Melinda, Selena, Fancy, Sue, Ed Black. They woke up in here, it's so funny. Cornbread 69. No running water to the camper. How did Granny wash off? Very good question. How do you know there's no water in there? Please enlighten us. How do you know that? How do you know that? I'm curious. June 15th, 2021, 5-year-old goes missing in the holler, Robertsville, Tennessee, Beach Creek community. The mother tells the news she was planting flowers with her child. Child got some candy from the grandmother. Then the child wanted to go in to be with her brothers. Mother watched her walk into the dilapidated house. She helped her mother with a knee brace for about 2 minutes. Went back in the house to see about the child. She wouldn't answer. But before that, she did ask the boys allegedly where she was. They told her downstairs. She called, no answer. She would normally reply, says the mother. So then the mother gets scared. And here we are 2.5 years with a version from she and Don Wells. Did the boys see their sister June 15th? When the mother left with the girl child, what were the boys doing? Did she even tell the boys where she was going? Why didn't she take the boys with her? Very interesting. Why contact Boy H when she has not been in contact with him or the mother visually? He claims to the interview room, he talked to her sporadically over, Snapchat. Candace, why did you contact Boy H? Why didn't you take your boys with you? Was Don Wells home? Did Don Wells go to work? Boy H tells us that Candace said the boys were with Don. But then somewhere in the conversation, he hears Don calling and telling her about a man, creepy guy on the property. Boy H thought to himself, well, how is that when he's supposed to be at work? And mind you, the boys should have been with him. So Chris asked him, well, did you say something to Candace about that? He's thinking that to myself. Okay. What do the children know? Did the girl child come back to Ben Hill Road with her mother and grandparents? Was she alive in the car if she came back? Or did the mother take her somewhere and hand her off or discard her after leaving Boy H? Stay woke. Did this event happen on the 15th or the 14th? Was there a Tacoma truck at this house, road, driveway? Why no more mention of the red truck? Was there a scream heard? Did she leave the property before calling Don, messaging him? Were the phones down? Was the Wi-Fi down? How everything's down, but when they get into a fight, somebody's able to dial 911 to the dispatch. Please explain that to me. Why do we have the dispatch saying she took a walk? You mean to tell me a dispatcher cannot comprehend a person? Where would a dispatcher get that information from? But Candace Bly or the husband. Could this have been all Candace is doing? And Don is telling the dispatcher all this nonsense to help give her a cover. Oh, well, you better say something. You're going to have to say you left or blah, blah, blah. Because how are you going to explain somebody coming in the house and taking the kid and you're there? What was discussed on that call between the two? Does FBI have records to show a winded video chat between the two after 6 p.m.? Do any of their phones or devices ping back in Beach Creek for a duration? 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. What happened back there? What happened, period? Is it possible the little girl came home after Boy H was dropped off and she and her brothers decided to go out and play and there was some roughhousing that went on and she got hurt? They ran and got their mother and they had to cover it up. Could it be the little girl went out the door from the basement without anybody looking, watching, and she wandered off and died in the elements? Could it be that she wandered off from that basement and went down to the edge of the road and some sicko wacko saw her and kidnapped her? Or could it be the mother went home, had this already planned out, and handed her off to a dirty bird? Or could it be the father had plans to do something with her, hand her off to somebody, and he came home, took her somewhere, and they hatched this 911 business? See, there are 1,000 ways you can weigh this story. But what I want to talk about is, what do the boys know? I played your commentary earlier this morning where Don talks about the state cutting off their contact with the boys. And that content was uploaded 6 months ago. So that would have been around June 15th of this year. While he's talking, he's saying 6 months before they cut off our contact. So that would have been the first of the year, 2023, if I'm recollecting correctly. So when did the state cut off their contact with the boys? Or is he lying? They never complied with trying to get the kids back, and the state automatically severed their rights and severed contact with the Wales. Is that the truth, Donald? Because you see, we're never going to know the truth about the business between you, your wife, the children, and the state, because we're dealing with minors. And that's just a spoken word. And you are never going to tell us the truth. You say, oh, they cut us off. Yeah, they'll cut you off if you don't respond. That's the common sense thing to do. You don't comply with what they ask you to do. So if they gave you a chance to get your children back and you didn't comply with the regulations, then at some point they are not going to be chasing you, contacting you and your wife. That's not their job. Did the boys witness any nefarious business with the sister at the house before she left? If she returned, did they play with her when she returned? Did they hear the mother saying something to someone or Don? Did they see the mother take her out and she was not awake? She was limp? What did they say to the children when they were doing all this calling to 911? Did the children ever hear any conversations in that 1 month and a half of being there at that house nefarious information, a plot, conspiracy to off a child. Did any of the children confront the parents about harming their sister? Because these children aren't dumb. They watch TV, YouTube, social media. You want me to believe the children never Googled their family's name while they were there? What was the conversations pertaining to at that house before the boys were removed by the state? Did they tell the boys not to tell certain things, repeat certain things to the law officials, strangers? Did they tell them we won't be going back to church for a while? What was the conversations between Don, Candace, and the boys? Very interesting. And did the boys even ask the mom, why did you take Summer with you instead of us? Did she normally do that? Leave the boys unattended and take the baby girl with her? If so, why? What have the children heard by their parents? Did they ever hear them admitting to hurting the child? Some of you say that you believe one of the boys hurt her. So is this a cover-up of one of the children harming her, too much rough play, or deliberate assault, punching, hitting, and the child was unalived by one of her brothers? They ran and told the mother, and then the mother had to discard the little girl. What is the truth? To what these brothers know, what they heard and saw on the 15th, if we're to believe that is the accurate date that the child went missing. A lot of questions. They claim Candy changing Granny leg brace outside but didn't see anything. Well, you know, as Boy H would say, I'm not good with time. So 2 minutes may have actually been 10 minutes. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say I believe anything that they have to say, because everything that I have written down in my notes in my brain comes from Donald Wells and Candy. And there are too many variances about the 911 dispatch call, what the little girl had on. She's outside with no shoes. How do you know she's outside with no shoes if you didn't see her? That means somebody would have had to be outside to say she didn't have no shoes on. So it went from she was in the basement to the TBI report, she was outside. See, all this is coming from Don and Candace. This is not coming from TBI. This is not coming from Hawkins County Sheriff's Department. Every version you have heard pertaining to a scream, a dog scent, a Tacoma truck, somebody ran up the drive, somebody ran down the drive, she was kidnapped. All that's their hypotheses, not law officials. And as I played you content earlier, Ronnie Lawson said even then, nobody has been removed as a suspect. So when we get an update by him in the near future, will he say the same? How many lie detector tests have they taken? Why did she wait days to take the second one? Or take it, period? Why are they using a private investigator as a mouthpiece and a go-to person instead of talking to the TBI and Sheriff Department directly? He also admitted in the interview that at times that they were hard on him and her, and times they were nice to them. As I said, I would love to be a fly on the wall, to have been a fly on the wall, when they weren't so nice. And why would they not be nice to you, Mr. Donald? You haven't done anything. And as you said in one of the interviews, I'll be seeing you soon. Will you be seeing Summer soon? Because in order for you to see Summer, You would already have to know that you're going to heaven, because I'm assuming that's where she is, if she's no longer alive. Very interesting comment. I'll see her in the resurrection. She hadn't even been missing, I don't think, 2 weeks when that comment was made. And now, 2 years later, you tell us I'll be seeing her sooner or later. Boy, you've got some type of fascination with death, do you not? And what's interesting is if we believe that you did murder your child, to be sitting here spewing all this stuff, religious jargon, it's just low rent. But it is also expected of a sociopath, psychopath. I also find it strange if Candace didn't talk to the dispatcher directly, why have you been the mouthpiece for this entire story? Why are you the only one that was running to the news? Why your wife wouldn't talk to the news? Why we have these different versions of child outside, child inside, child outside with no shoes, child wandered off, child's at the road, K9 picks up her scent at the road. All these different versions, but none of them have been confirmed by TBI. Why is that? And I think TBI should have corrected any statement that Donald Wells gave to the public to say, no, that's not true. No, that's not true. Or yes, that is true. You also said that the TBI didn't find any pings of anybody back there. Now I want everybody to think about that for just a second. TBI ran the cell towers and they didn't get one ping from anybody with a cell phone. So I'm going to ask, how far in miles did the pings go and how many people have landlines out there? Because if you all don't have a landline, you didn't have one that day, how have you been talking to people on the phone? How have you taken care of business? How are you talking to people about medicine? And your mother was sick and had to go to the hospital. How did she call her doctor? Stay woke, everybody. How do you all make phone calls to people in the community and out of the community? You can't talk to somebody on the phone because the cell is spotty. The Wi-Fi is spotty. But your children were, I believe, playing games or on social media. So which is it? The Wi-Fi was up or the Wi-Fi was down? Cell service was up or cell service was down? And another thing, Candace, something I didn't even mention 2.5 years ago. If you had poor cell service, why didn't you go use Jody Sue's phone or somebody's phone down the street, such as that house that sits at the corner across from the Ben Hill Road sign? Checkmate. Your child is missing and you too busy trying to dial on Messenger, which is strange to me because a lot of phones still do Wi-Fi calling. Most services, I'm assuming. Mine says that, Wi-Fi calling, even when I'm dialing directly using the phone service. I'm just curious. Why didn't you walk down to one of the neighbors' houses or drive to one of the neighbors' houses to ask to use a phone, ma'am? Your child is missing. She's not answering. You don't see her on the property. Wouldn't the common sense thing be, I got to get out of here. I got to go find me a phone. Ding, ding, ding. Or better yet, why the fuck you didn't have a landline phone? Excuse my language. You're welcome, sweetheart. I don't know why I never thought about that 2.5 years ago. Why did this lady not go knock on somebody's door to use their phone? Your child is missing. But miraculously, Wi-Fi is working. And allegedly, you and Don talked on the phone, video chatted the whole way back. Boy, that's interesting. Wi-Fi works, but the cell tower don't work. So now I gotta imagine all those people that live back there. They don't have no way to talk to anybody on the phone unless they have a landline. Interesting. So it would defeat the purpose to live in Beach Creek with a cell phone. Am I saying that correctly? So maybe that's what some people should have been doing, was asking the few little houses near Candace, do you all have cell phone service? I think I would have asked that while I was out there banging on those people's doors. You want to get some information, why not ask these neighbors, do they have good cell phone service? Because everybody knows, whether you live in the city, the country, on top of the moon, in case of an emergency, if your phone is broke, not working, don't got it turned on, the first thing you do is go use somebody else's phone. So I'm going to ask you again, Candace. Why didn't you go use Jody Sue's phone? You all were friends, weren't you? Or were you not? I don't know. So I don't keep up with all the ins and outs of Ben Hill Road. Were you not talking to Jody Sue at the time your child went missing, ma'am? Why didn't you go use somebody's cell phone, landline? Why do we have all these different versions of your child, what she was doing? Because I refuse to believe TBI, Hawkins County, and the dispatcher made up all these versions. They don't know you. They don't have anything invested. You're a stranger to them. She was in the basement. She was outside. She didn't have no shoes on. Then I saw you on a live stream the other day where you were talking about you got all her clothes or something, or the clothes she had on that day. I hope I'm misquoting that. So I'm going to ask that question. How could you have her clothes from that day? Come on with it, Queen. I ain't ready. You would only have her clothes if, one, she changed clothes that day. So let's go here. Allegedly, she had on a tank top and some pants or shorts when Boy H saw her. She also had on a bathing suit. Allegedly, you put on that morning, and then it changed to you changed her at Allie's house. I can't keep up. This is what happens when you get older. You just can't keep up with all the damn lies. So we've got bathing suit on, bathing suit off. I got her clothes. Which clothes are we speaking of? Then we got a picture of her laying against milk jugs with a pull-up pink jacket on and some black breeches. So are those the clothes you're talking about? So then we got to say, well, did you make it home for her to take those clothes off and then change back into her summer clothes? I can't keep up, girl. And as some girl said in her video, why do you feel the need that you have to prove to somebody that you still have your child's belongings? I thought it was funny too when I was looking at the house today from 6 months ago. Damn, Don, you went and put some siding up on your little raggedy ass house. You have a house paid for that didn't even have siding. I just don't get it. A property that you could put a mansion on top of it, naturally, if you have the resources. But you don't want to do anything with it. We're going to take your money and do other stuff. What did the boys tell TBI, Sheriff's Department, about June 15th? Did they tell the truth that they saw their sister, didn't see their sister? Did they repeat any conversations they overheard between their parents? What have they told their foster care parents? Wow. Now imagine that. Oh my God, Ed Black, please. He said, put up a cell phone tower. Oh, you could put one right up there at 110. Put a watchtower right there where that house is. What did the boys tell their foster care parents, DHS workers, any other children in the foster care system? Have these children told anything that would be deemed incriminating against their parents? Say, whoa, it's so funny. Because, you know, what is that old saying? Out of sight, out of mind. See, when you get out of sight of people that are detrimental to your health, you start to forget about them, and you also start to get comfortable. And that is when we tell things. Stay woke. That's why I believe one of these parents is eventually going to tell something that they can't take back. So I'm curious to what the boys have told law officials, the foster parents, other children that's in the foster home. Because when your defenses are down, and as I said, you feel comfortable, this is when you start testifying to things. Because there's nobody there to scold you, to say anything, to punish you. So what have the children told outsiders? Do the children want to go back home? Do they miss their parents? Or are they happy where they are? Imagine leaving that box up there on the hill to go live in a nice house with good linen, good comforters, pillows, house smelling like air freshener, bathrooms are clean, the kitchen is clean, got decent furniture to sit on. I bet those kids didn't know how to act. They might have been scared, of course, because they're somewhere new. They don't know these strangers where they are. But just imagine leaving that up there to go somewhere where there's doors attached to the hinges. You can shut the door to the bathroom. You can shut the door to your bedroom. You actually have your own bed to sleep in, privacy to change your clothes. I'm trying to imagine what that would be like for a kid who is not used to that. Yeah, too many versions. Exactly. Because it doesn't make sense to have different versions. And you can't blame the dispatcher because her job or his job is to repeat what you said. So I also played you that content earlier. Please go check out that earlier live from this morning. The dispatcher is talking to one of the officers, deputies, and she's repeating what one of them said. And she says, oh yeah, by the way, she left and took a walk. Now that's not even take a run. Exactly what I heard earlier today. So we're going to say the dispatcher made a mistake. How would you get that mixed up with planting flowers, going into the house, calling the little girl, She didn't answer. I went down in the playroom, didn't see her, as you told Mr. Madonna, nowhere. And then you guess you called Don. So, Candace, which version is it, honey? Did you bring your daughter home June 15th? Is the day correct? Let's just start there. Is it the 15th, the 14th, the 13th? What are we talking about? Because H doesn't keep up with time. So what day are we on? As they would say, who's on first? Because see, this is how I know something bad happened to her. Because you're going from a legal dispatch call of the mother says she took a walk. And I don't see how a dispatcher can get that confused with the version she gave WJHL. They don't even match. They don't even match TBI's version of, they said the little girl was playing outside. So see, that's another version. She wasn't wearing no shoes. That's not what you told WJHL. So it looks like you've told how many versions to different departments? The news got one version. TBI got one version. Dispatch got one version. 3 different versions, 3 different people. And I'm supposed to believe in my right mind, you didn't hurt your kid. Because the one thing we've learned with true crime, that is the first thing a guilty person does is they start to fish according to the questions that the detectives ask. That's first and foremost. When they realize the questions that they are being asked don't even sound right to them, and they're the ones spinning the lie, they then say, oh, well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, I forgot. She did go outside. I must have forgot because I took a nap or something. Is that how it went, Candace? The daughter was inside. Then she was outside without no shoes on. Then you took a run, a walk. And then when you did the WJHL interview, you made sure to let us know, oh, I don't walk anywhere because of the bears and the coyotes and the snakes. You knew to say that because they had already grilled you about allegedly leaving the property. Because they probably said, well, you told the dispatch you left, so where'd you go? And then 9 times out of 10, you got to give an answer. And then they're going to go check that place out. So where did you tell them you went? To the Dollar General store? You need some cigarettes, some bread, some pizza, cool drinks. Where did you tell them you went? Because we didn't get that version from the news. I think that's exactly what happened. I think you gave each person a different version. I think you probably even gave Don a version if he's not involved. But he's been the ringleader with the talking, so I just feel like he knows something. Because he talks too much. And a person who just won't stop talking, but was never there, that makes me believe that they're involved. Number 2, the person who's spinning the web took 2 weeks to go to the news, gave different versions to different entities. That leads me to believe that they're involved. So I don't believe in no blue van, the neighbor next door, where y'all having an altercation about the property line per Jody Sue. I don't believe maybe she heard a scream. It's too much chitter chatter without a receipt. Lawson has already debunked the Tacoma truck. and the screen. So, from all accounts, that leaves you and Don and your kids. Because you should know they ran checks on Tacoma trucks from Rogersville to Virginia, North Carolina, and back around. They've run the cell tower checks. They've run your phone devices, Boy H's device, Grandis's device, the husband's device. Anybody that came to your house and visit, they've ran their devices. They've checked all pedophiles in the area. They've probably checked for that guy who lived next door that you said was sleeping outside on the property, or the van, or y'all had the argument with. They've checked him. The guy who was allegedly supposed to be creeping around touching the kids. I want out they found him and talked to him. Because they're going to check anybody you mention. But the one thing that's interesting coming from TBI is that all the leads that they got were conspiracies, rumors, nothing concrete. How about that? What are the odds? A little girl goes missing in the holler, and there's nobody that can say they saw her playing outside, saw her playing in the basement. I saw her in Kingsport at the swimming hole, the pharmacy, the smoke shop, the other tobacco place, the grocery store, hospital, nowhere. And what are the odds that she would go missing from a place, her house, that has no Wi-Fi service, no cell phone service? And let Don Wells tell it, TBI checked and didn't no phones ping off the tower. So then we got to ask ourselves, who owns the tower and what's the purpose of the tower? Can't nobody get no damn service. Who owns it? T-Mobile? Verizon? I'm curious. Once again, a version from Don Wells. Every version you have heard has come from him and Candace only. TBI has never told you one version that you have heard. They've never confirmed the K9. They never confirmed she was outside playing. They never confirmed that she was inside the house. They never confirmed that there was a kidnapping. They haven't confirmed the cell phone pings that he says nobody pinged off that tower. You don't find that strange? Wouldn't TBI break their neck to say yes or no? Oh, we hear Mr. Wells has been speaking to the public. We'd like to confirm and or deny what he's told you on YouTube. Maybe they said to themselves, we're not going to say a damn thing. We're just going to keep letting him talk so he can hang his damn self. I'm just saying. It appears to me that this was the perfect setup to get rid of the child since there's spotty Wi-Fi and spotty cell service. How convenient. And how convenient is it? She goes missing on this day. The mother can't call directly on her phone, but the phone works any other fucking night when she and Don Wells are fighting. Oh, did you hear that, Candace? How are you calling those times when you and Don were in altercations? The night when Jose had visited years ago and y'all was all having a powwow. How did 911 send a message to the deputies to show up at your house our way? I'm a lot of things, sugar. Dumb ain't one of them. I'm going to say it again because somebody ain't listening. For every altercation you have had with Donald Wells, ma'am, how did law enforcement get the motherfucking call? Cut it out, Justice, now. Yeah, they go live online for years, but yeah, no service on that day. Exactly. So you live in a jacked up place. Wi-Fi spotty, phone service spotty. But the most important day of the year, a whole baby is missing. Ain't nothing working at 110 Ben Circle Way Lane. Girl, you must think we crazy. This is why I tell everybody, connect the dots. Everything you need to know is right there. I'm so glad I played those videos in the YouTube queue today because I heard things I had not heard 6 months ago with your little interviews to the news and the Knoxville news, and then Robin talked to the news. And I said to myself, look at God. Look at God. Thank you, Jesus, for the news. Because each video gave me something to confirm you two are involved in this person, this baby. Because it's too many versions. And this is what I believe about you and Candace. You never thought the world would hear about the 911 call. We may not hear you and Don talking to the dispatch, but we did get the dispatcher's conversation to the deputy. And that's how that cat got out of the bag about your ass walking off the property. So whether you walked, you ran, you drove, I still believe you left. And so where the hell was you going? So what did you tell the police? Oh, no, she got that wrong. I didn't tell her that. She misunderstood. Well, Candace, what did the dispatcher understand, baby? Did you leave the property or not? You're 1 hour late, dear. Candace, what did you tell TBI when they asked you about leaving the property? What did you tell them? You were gone all damn day, allegedly. You went at least 7 places, if I was to count correctly, in Kingsport. So all of a sudden you return home. You got to make a run, come back to the property. And when did you mess with the brakes? I'm confused, girl. Help this old lady out. Then the baby's outside playing. She ain't got no shoes on. So I'm trying to figure out which page are we on. She's in the basement, she's outside. She's in the trailer, she's in the basement, she's outside with no shoes on. The dog picks up her scent at the end of the driveway. Summer was everywhere. But yet can't nobody find her. Checkmate. Just a little butterfly, was she not? She's over here, she's over here, she's over here. And now she's just totally gone. Put that on paper. I believe somebody came up and kidnapped her. That's what I think. I think she's far, far away. Yeah, she's far away, all right. Far removed. I think she's in somebody's basement. Well, Don, she's been in somebody's basement. Your basement. Got that baby down there in the damn cold ass floor with no damn curtains and plush carpeting or a pretty little area rug for a baby. She don't want to sleep down there in that nasty ass dungeon with you and Candace. I tell you all what. When I got off that live this morning, I was so fucking pissed off. I could have just chewed my own fingers off. Because I'm telling you, there comes a point when you are listening to things, your spirit is telling you, you know better. These people have been lying, man. And that's how I felt. I got off the live, I crawled back in my bed, and I just started cussing. Because I said, these motherfuckers think we are just stupid. Just stupid as hell. And as I told people, I try not to say at the beginning of a story that somebody murdered somebody, because the times you can be wrong. So that's why I never did it with the Idaho 4, and I'm glad I didn't. Because that young boy that used to mess with Kaylee, he caught pure hell. And I made that vow last year. I will not accuse anybody of killing those 4 kids, and I kept my word. And I apologize to that girl down in Georgia who I thought killed her mother. That Debbie case. Debbie, you can't remember her name. You all know who I'm talking about. The one they found burned in the woods. So, backtrack to Summer Wells. I'm going live today. I'm listening, watching the comments, talking to myself while I'm listening, saying, could it be she was kidnapped? Could it be some sicko they used to piss around with came up there and got the little girl? And then my spirit said, no. It ain't the neighbor. It ain't a pedophile that's in the area. It ain't the creepy guy that get drunk that like grandma. It ain't the guy who was from Georgia sleeping on the other property, homeless. It's them two right up there. Because as I said to you all in the chat, if the majority of children murdered are murdered by their parent or their guardian or family member, why would it be different in this case in Rogersville? I'll wait. Think about what I'm saying now. 450 kids are killed each year by the mother. Yes, Debbie Collier. Hello, sweet tea. Hello, baby. Hope your family's well, sweetheart. Are you in Indiana yet or you didn't go? Yes, all red herrings. Very well said. There is just too many versions. And I watch enough true crime to know the signs. I go to bed listening to A&E and Oxygen and all these true crimes and forensic files. And everything that I've seen and heard is similar to this case. And the one thing that's similar is that the child was last with the parent, number one. Number two, who's doing the most talking? Who ain't doing the most talking? Different versions given to different people. You have no reason to give 3 and 4 different versions of June 15th. You were gone all day with her. So how in the hell, yes, Dayline as well. Thank you. So how in the hell you gonna have your baby with you all day and then you come home, all of a sudden you got 12 different versions of what happened at 110 Ben Hill? Make me understand that. You were in Kingsport allegedly all day. You get back to Ben Hill, the dispatcher got a version. Channel 11 News got a version. WVLT here in Knoxville got a version. Everybody got a different version of what happened June 15th. And the only way they got that version is they misquoted you or you told them that version, Candace. Done. Exactly, Krista. Should be cleaning up confusion. That's why I said TBI should have refuted anything Don Wells said to YouTube. Because you can't say, stop watching YouTube, those people making up stuff, but then you don't come out and refute what Don Wells told you to. Because I'm not going to tell you, hey, stop looking at social media. Stop listening to those YouTubers. Stop following that garbage. But then I know that Don Wells is lying to you all. The wife is lying. And then I don't come out and say, well, I just want to say for the record, we cannot confirm what Don Wells said. That's what I would have done. Because let me tell you something. He would have been feeling like a chicken, SHIT, had you all jumped up and said, we can't confirm that the dog hit on the child sitting at the end of the road. You either confirm it or you deny it. What's the big deal? Ronnie Lawson didn't have a problem with denying that scream from Jody Sue, her and her kids. He sure didn't mind telling it. He didn't mind also tell us about the red truck. They ain't got no leads on that, no make, no nothing. So then we have to wonder, did somebody make that up about the damn red truck? This is ridiculous. So I told myself today after I did the live, I said, Angela, honey, they are behind this. They are behind this. Because that is one of the first signs of deception. It's telling different versions, which is phishing. Since that word was used a lot pertaining to she and Mr. H. Phishing for a suitable version. That is what suspects do when their foot is in the trap. Because the thing you have to always remember, when you speak to law enforcement to give a version, to write a statement, they are going to ask you, is this accurate? What you are saying and what you're writing. You either respond yes or you respond no. They will ask you to go over your statement, reread your statement before you sign your statement. So then they will gather the statement and then ask you questions about your statement. And then they will also come in with evidentiary material to confirm or debunk your statement. Is anybody listening to me? So, you come out talking about, I left the house. Because they're going to say, well, the dispatcher said you left. Well, where did you go? Well, now you got to think of somewhere to tell them where you went. So if you wasn't expecting that, now you got to lie. And you know what they said to Candace. Candace, now you know we're getting ready to go down to the 7-Eleven Piggly Wiggly and see if that's where you went. You know we're going to check the cameras to see if you went there. You know we're going to check to see if you pulled up and bought gas. Wherever she said she went, she knows they're going to check. So if you knew this, why in the hell would you mention it to the dispatch? That's why you have to think before speaking. So I'm going to say it again. Where did you go, Candace? Why did you tell that dispatcher that you left the property? Did you walk or did you drive your car? Because you told WJHL later, I don't walk nowhere. I don't walk nowhere. See, you said that because you did not want that girl to mention she heard that from the dispatch call. So you thought you was slick. That's why I know you did something to Somerset. I'm all into your game, baby. Let me hurry up and tell Ansley I didn't walk nowhere before she could repeat what the dispatch said. That's also why you talk real slow during that interview. Well, I walked over to the trailer with my daughter. She got a piece of candy from Grandma. I thought, if you don't speed this story up already, sedated on a live feed with a news reporter. Who does that? Hey, ma'am, do you mind? I'd like to speak to you about your daughter. Okay. You sit in front of this lady with a blue wife beater on. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you, Lady Fox. A blue wife beater, no brassiere, boom booms hanging down to your knees, sedated with a baseball cap on. And then you lying, looking a hot mess. This is why I told everybody, you know damn well she and Allie were friends. She on the interview with no bra. Allie sitting in front of Chris Madonna, his wife, with her belly button showing. Shut up, Angela. I'm going to say it again. One is sitting in front of the house with no bra on. The other one is sitting in front of the interview room, no bra, and they belly hanging up under their damn shirt. Like Baby Hewitt. The only thing Allie was missing was a baby bottle. This is the point I've been trying to burn to all of you. Is that self-preservation is first. If you don't have the decency to wear clothes appropriate for a news interview, you don't care about yourself or you don't care about your kids. And we saw that with the interview room showing the property, inside of the property, these public interviews. But we all of a sudden go get our hair done, cut, put a little makeup on to go talk to Dr. Phil. And then we run out soon as somebody gets to asking one question. I was like, what the hell is wrong with her? I don't keep talking about that. You knew he was going to ask you a question, Candace. So you're wasting these people's money and their time for nothing. So I'm going to ask the chat, what did the boys see and hear June 15th? Did they see their sister that morning? Did they see their sister return home that evening or afternoon? What did they tell law officials in their formal interviews? Because it will be very interesting if we find out they did not see their sister return home that evening. Yes, it did say that. She went for a walk. Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very true. Makeover 101. Jenny says, I say they didn't see her that day. Okay, Jenny. Because I don't know if these children were groomed to be little liars by this family. Because you got to remember, they were there for at least a month and a half after Summer went missing. So it's no telling what they told those kids before law officials got a hold of the children to speak to them. Don't say this. Don't talk about this. And we know that they would do that because she did it with Boy H allegedly. But Boy H had already told her, I already been talked and told it. And that's the point. You don't have anything to hide. Why are you over there at Boy H's house 2 days late? 2 days later, you didn't have no business buying a drink in front of a child anyway. Do that on your own time. And I don't know if he told the truth about her only buying one tea because he said, well, I asked her for it. She gave it to him. Why would you do that? And then you go report your kid missing hours later. And then you're running over to his house 2 days later trying to see what he done told TBI and the sheriff's department. Oh, you didn't tell them that I gave you that twisted tea. Uh-huh, he did. Because you didn't have no business over that, lady. Your bond should have been with Allie. Nothing wrong with spending time with somebody's children, taking somebody's children somewhere, but he was older than your children. A major age difference. You all wanted to do something together as friends and your children. That would have been different. But you and Allie weren't even speaking. So quite frankly, you should not have been over there. And if Allie consented to him leaving, because we don't even know if that's the truth, Allie, you should have told her, no, he cannot go with you. And please do not call my son again, lady. But see, when you don't care about yourself, you cannot care for your children. Because Allie should still be beating herself up about her son still talking and chatting with this old ass bird. And then your inappropriate conversations about him touching himself and all that, you know damn better. You're just ignorant as hell because you don't care. Then you sit up here and get on these live streams drunk and crying and stuff, and then y'all want to blame everybody on YouTube. You got in cahoots with these people on YouTube. Didn't nobody tell you to get in cahoots with no YouTuber? You think if I killed my kid, I'm getting ready to let a YouTuber get in my messenger, a stranger get in my messenger, and I'm going to start, you're who? Yeah, I'm on YouTube, and I got a channel, and I'd like for you to come up, and I'll pay for this, and I'll give you a donation. I'll do this for you. I wouldn't even respond. If you didn't know that was a trap, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. Because it's such a low blow for Don to say, they just used us and they just turned on her and she put her trust in them. Yeah, kind of like the trust she's put in you. How about that? She's been trusting you for years and look where that's gotten her. The blind leading the blind. That's what's been going on in the Summer Wells case. That's what's been going on since two people ate from the tree of life. You people have never cared for your children. You've got children amongst both of you without parents. And you had the audacity to lie down and procreate, and now all those children are gone. And sadly, these children are going to grow up knowing about all this filth on social media, YouTube, including my video as well, and think, wow, these people think horribly of our parents. Maybe there's some truth to it. But in the end, those kids know their parents because they live with them, whether they love them or not. And I pray they don't take their ways into the world, because then we'll have a repeat of what we have seen on YouTube for 2.5 years. And the thing I thought was so interesting about Don and Candace, a year or so ago, or before, when all those people came down to Rogersville with their heels on the ground, boots on the ground, bullshit, he complained about what they were doing. And the first thing I said to myself, you still would go talk to them? Still go talk to this YouTuber, that YouTuber? How can you complain about people harassing you, and yet you still will jump on somebody's live stream? That makes no logical sense. You decided to have your own channel, but you bitching about who's using you and your wife, but you steady talking on the horn. And you didn't care about your children seeing all that. Let's go there, and then I'm going to check out of here. I don't know what you told your children about June 15th. I don't know what they witnessed June 15th. I don't know if they're party to Summerwell's disappearing. But after the fact, the state removes your children, and you just sit up on YouTube like you got a free pass to act a donkey's ass, and you do not care about the stuff they would see and hear from their own parents. That's shameful to me. You didn't care about that church, what they would see and hear. That's why I asked people on the poll, do you think the church would want them back up there? I wouldn't want you back. And I understand when you believe in God, you're supposed to be forgiving. You're supposed to turn the other cheek. I know all about that. But why would somebody want that entity coming up in the Lord's house that acts like that and cuss and call people names, and then you're going to sit up in the Lord's house and say, what to those people there? Oh, I just do that at night when I drink. Other than that, I'm a really nice person. I don't mean to call nobody no nigger and no bitch. Just think about that for a second. What could you tell the pastor while you sitting up here drunker than Cooter Brown on a live stream? Where is the compassion for self? Where is the compassion for your daughter? Where is the compassion for your boy children? Where is the get about to get them back? Why don't you have them back? No, I wouldn't want you at my church. Yeah, I said that. Because I wouldn't want you bringing that omen up and die. And I know that sounds cruel, what I'm saying, but I would not want them in my church. Because now you've given me a full view of who you really are. And I would not trust you. Because one, you're too old to be behaving like that. You're too old, and you know better. And as I told somebody in the comment section, you know, we're of the flesh. So whether you claim to be a Christian or not, you can't tell a person how to think. And I said, there's probably at least a few people that do not want those people back at the church. They may never tell the pastor. They may never tell another person at the church. But I'm sure there are few people at the church that would prefer Don and Candace walk on by. And I would not judge them for that. Because as we say in the street, there's a time and a place for everything. Exactly. Forgiveness doesn't mean connection. I wouldn't want them either. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And that's what I said in the live earlier. People misconstrue the Bible with, oh, turn the other cheek, forgive them. But the scripture didn't tell you to go back in. God didn't tell you, oh, yeah, he stabbed you yesterday. Now go hang with him when you get out the hospital. That's not in the Bible. He don't want you to have hate. He doesn't want you hating the other person. But he did not tell you to continue a bond. Because there's just certain things a person just cannot continue to do with another human. And it's nobody's right to tell you, oh yeah, you should just keep dealing with him or her. Because it's easy, as you all love to say, to judge. Right. Keep hanging with him. Keep hanging with him. No, you keep hanging with him. Because if you've forgiven a person a few times, I think you've done quite well to make it that far. To keep getting your arm cut off dealing with somebody. And the point is, we are human. And they don't got to hate Don and Candace, but they don't have to deal with them either. And I think it's sad and pathetic that with 2.5 years in, no update on this baby, and these people still throw daggers at random strangers when nobody told you to deal with these people. That's a choice. Those people were foolish for getting tangled up with Don and Candace, and Don and Candace were foolish for getting tangled up with them. That's just a spoken word. Nobody put a gun to anybody's head to tell you to go look for these two. Go over there to that house, stand outside that house, go find his job, go find his co-workers, go find the neighbors. That's a choice. And as I've said before, some of you are lucky to be walking around, because I know people who would have went up there and showed out, and it would have had nothing to do with someone else. They would have beat the brakes off of you because they could. See, it takes all kinds of people. They may not have even liked the whales. But what they're saying to themselves, oh, they want to be badasses. They want content for the video. Oh, let's give them some content. And then we'll be hearing a story about them laid out on a stretcher, beat up or shot up because you're stalking these sicko wacko parents, and somebody else decides to play reindeer games with them. See, you don't know people. And you play a dangerous game when you start getting involved with people that you do not know. We don't know the whales, but what we do know of them, it doesn't look nice. Same thing with the random people in the chat, jumping in the messenger, the YouTubers, bloggers, whomever. We don't know them either. And we've heard of the horror stories of people getting wrapped up with other YouTubers and people in the chat. It's a dangerous mix. You got to know your place. As I said, I don't know what the boys saw. I pray they have no involvement with their sister, because of course that crossed my mind many moons ago. Could this have been an accident? Could one of the boys have hurt her? The mother and dad covered it up. But either way, she's no longer here visibly. And if I'm to believe that she's alive, I can't even imagine that, because my right mind would say, what sicko would let the news put out all these stories? Tennessee has an Amber Alert out. You know you have the little girl, and you don't turn her over to the authorities to do the right thing. Why would you want to keep her? For whatever reason or how you got her, it would be wrong to keep her. Now, let's dig into the belly of the beast. Hypothetically speaking, what if somebody knew about Summer Wells being mistreated, the boys, which is whoever, and they said to themselves, I'm going to go up here to this property and try to get this child out of here. Let's think about that for just a second. I'm going to get this child out of here. What would be the odds of that? Somebody wanting to better the life of Summer Wells, they knew her, they knew how she lived, and they made their way up to that basement and took her out of there unseen, unheard. I couldn't believe that. If she was sick, I don't know. See, that's the point, because we don't know them. We don't know what they were doing and how their children, illnesses. We just don't know. Yes, and that's how I feel too. That no matter what happened to Summer, these people have knowledge. And that's how I feel. Whether it was an accident by the parents, an accident by the children, an accident by somebody on the property visiting, the child hurt herself on her own, or nefarious deeds went on with somebody and her. Exactly. It's still negligence. Exactly. Why wouldn't they attempt to, what? Let's say all the children. What do you mean? Oh, well, okay. So let's go there. Per Don Wells 2.5 years ago, what did he tell us about the utility workers working on the poles or whatever could have an eye view of the property? What did I tell you all about that? Anybody in the chat remember what I said about a utility worker having a bullseye view of the property and honing in on Summer, and then that person made their way, hypothetically, over to their property to kidnap her? I want you to think about that for just a second. First of all, the person has to know that once she's a girl, stay woke. Because if I'm stalking the property, which he's mentioned that, if she's not dressed like a girl in a tutu or a skirt, from afar she looks like a boy. So I'm going to sneak up on a property, don't know what I'm going to encounter, to kidnap a boy. Exactly. When there's other boys already up there. Then I got to be able to get in and out. Then you have the dogs, the broke up driveway. How do I know where she's going to be? Unless she's closer to the road where I could just snatch her up. But then if I snatch her up, there's other children, won't they identify me? See, I always tell people, make it make sense. Then I'm on a job working. Come on with it now. So I'm getting ready to take her what? Back to the work truck? Well, what if I'm in the truck with 2 or 3 other guys? What am I going to do with this baby? Don't I have to explain why I just left the area where I'm working? Isn't somebody going to say, hey, Bob, where are you going? Oh, yeah, I'm just going to go over here across the way. I see a little boy I want. See, this is why I tell people you have to think about what you're hearing. See, Don can't bring that type of SHIT to me because I already got the answer before he even spewed the nonsense out. Ain't no utility worker took your child because she would possibly look like a damn boy. So that means he would want a boy, and you've left boys up there all damn day. Checkmate. So they didn't need to wait on those summer wells that look like a boy when 3 were already up at the property, allegedly. Stay woke now. You already got 3 boys up there that's left alone. Why am I waiting on this one to come home? What are the odds that the child has gone with the mother all day is the one that goes missing? I'll wait. When, once again, 3 boys were left alone, unattended. But then, boy H says, she tells him they're with Don. But then Don calls, allegedly, to say there's a creepy guy up there trying to touch the children. So this is where it looks like a conspiracy between either Don and Candace, or Candace made that phone call up. And frankly, with modern technology, you can still hear a person's conversation even if the phone is not on speaker. So did Don call her to say that about the creepy guy, or she made that up to Boy H? See, you don't know what to believe because in the end, all versions come from Donald Wells and Candace Bly. Law officials have not confirmed not one damn storyline version from these 2. And you should find that odd. Not one version has been confirmed. And the fact that the mouthpiece, who has done all the versions spinning, wasn't even in Rogersville, allegedly. Why is that? And yet the one who was with the girl, she can't tell us shit. She's got to let Don do all the talking. Why is that? Why do you have different versions, Candace Bly, of what happened June 15th? Because they're complicit. Different versions. Different versions told the Boy H. Different versions told the law officials. Oh, I can bet you they got a whole lot of different versions. Different versions throughout YouTube land, seeking attention from random strangers, anybody that'll listen, being the mouthpiece, but yet you weren't there. The one who's there don't want to talk. She picks and chooses who she wants to do interviews with. They've already told you they're behind the disappearance of Summer. Let me say that again. They have already told you. They know where she is, how she got there, and that she's not coming back. The fact they don't have their boy children tells you they don't care about their children. This is why I tell people to stay woke. Some of you felt like there was favoritism. She didn't like her girl child. She was jealous of her girl child. She was jealous of the girl child because of Don. He showed her more attention. She showed him more attention. You also hear that in my last live where he's bragging that the child liked him, favored him, which is so disrespectful to say to a news reporter. They've already told you she is gone. Because that's what a narcissist does. They spin webs, deceit. They talk about themselves excessively, even when the story is not about them. They don't make an attempt to find the victim. They don't rally to find the victim. They don't talk about the victim. They speak of the victim in past tense. And they always scream, "Woe is me." Well, see, you can't give one version because detectives have to research the first version. And if and when they find a discrepancy with your first version, you have to now come up with a second version. And when that one has been knocked over, pinned down, you have to now say something else. That is why you have 3 different versions running around to different news agents. Chris Madonna. All those agents didn't just get those versions out of the sky. This is coming from Don and Candace. When the dispatcher talks to you about why you're calling, they're going to ask you specific questions. Where are you? Who are you with? What's your address? What's the problem? Speak slow. I can't hear you. Speak up. They're trained for that. So I'm supposed to believe a dispatcher is going to make up Candace Bly left the building. So why in the world would a dispatcher do that and they don't know you? They have no reason to lie on Candace Bly. Candace, you told her that you took a walk because you were trying to get the story up and running. But it backfired. You had to tell another story to WJHL. That's why you waited 2 weeks to talk to the dudes. Hot damn. Hot damn. I just thought about that. That's why you waited. Because they found a discrepancy with you leaving the property. You couldn't confirm that. So you had to think of something else to tell TBI. What did you tell them? So you didn't want to talk to the news. Because I know the last report I played, they said they hadn't talked to you. You all are directing all your conversations through your investigator, which to me is a slick move. I see right through this. You didn't want to talk to that news because you knew they had already debunked you leaving the property. And you did not want that girl to throw that at you so you could be caught off guard again. That's why you went ahead and mentioned, "Oh, I don't walk anywhere. There's bears and coyotes and snakes around." Wow. And yet there are people out here who honestly supported you all, and still think you don't have anything to do with the disappearance of Summer Wells. There is no way in hell. After what I heard on the news today from 6 months ago, the different interviews, the different conversations you've had on live streams, that I would think you all had nothing to do with this little girl missing. I don't know why you hurt her, harmed her. I don't know if it was an accident or not, but I know you have free will and knowledge of where she is and discarding her. Oh, I believe that. Because as I said, an honest person has no reason to give the police and the dispatch different versions. That's just cut dry. Cut dry. And I don't believe Boy H made that stuff up about the creepy guy on the property. He has no reason to even be talking about that because he hasn't seen you. He hadn't talked to you. So what is he going to gain by making that up? You told him that. And you had a reason to tell him that because you were baiting him. And I do believe you used Boy H as an alibi to say, oh yeah, I saw that little girl. She was up and running and she was feeling mighty fine when I last saw her. And as he told the interview room, I knew they had done something to her because she had just left here. It's not how he worded it, but I believe that's what he meant. And that's been my point all along. How does a girl child go missing when she's been with the mother all day? Because she didn't. I want to thank you for joining me. God bless all of you. Like, share, subscribe. Drop your comments below. Welcome new viewers, subscribers. Thank you for patronizing this network. Please follow my other content because I do have other videos and things I'd like to discuss on this network. Please check out my last live stream, which is a very disturbing story out of Oklahoma of a man who made children with his stepdaughter while the mother was living in the house with them. Please check out that content and drop your comments below that video. What should the punishment be for the abuse and neglect of this couple? I want to hear your commentary. Please check out my earlier live this morning pertaining to Summer Wells. Each day I will bring you a version that these heathens have brought forward pertaining to her disappearance, and we will chop up every rumor version told by Donald and Candace Wells and any hypothesis pertaining to the child's disappearance. If you'd like to donate to this network, $DeGanji129 Cash App, stickers and chats are welcome. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you, sweetie, for joining us. Hope your trip is going well. Hope your child is feeling better, and prayers for your father-in-law. Merry Christmas, everybody. Think of somebody this time of the year. Do something special for someone. Say something kind to someone. Please stay warm. And think about those who are less fortunate, who don't have a place to live. Somebody's going to be outside cold, need a place to sleep. Give thanks if you do have a place to live this holiday season, this winter. I will be back possibly tomorrow with another question pertaining to Summer Wells. Feel free to go back to the beginning of this live to get the polls results, because I read off the polls on my community page pertaining to the Summer Wells case, Ruby Frankie, Idaho 4. And I will try to bring you an update pertaining to New York as well about the building that fell, because I have not talked about them in about a week, and I need to bring an update pertaining to those people in New York City. Thank you so much for following this network. Once again, welcome new subscribers. Thanks for tuning in and listening to the live stream. God bless all of you. And once again, everybody, please be safe. Ladies, if you're shopping late, take people with you. If you got too many bags, put them in the trunk, go back home, unload, and then come back out. But please be careful even going to your car. Don't park next to vans. And try to get in early to shop if you can, so you don't have to be out late carrying your purse and parcels. And I always recommend carrying a crossover bag to shop instead of a big old purse, because people watch you with those big old purses, and you don't want to be sitting here trying to fight somebody in a parking lot over some Coach bag, Michael Kors bag. Just carry a small crossover bag with your ID and your debit card. You don't need a big purse to shop. Just a suggestion. Thank you for joining me, everybody. God bless all of you. You've been listening to The Vault. Exhale. Take care, everybody.